When you think about going to work, do you get a pang of anxiety, or do you feel depressed at the thought of having to spend one more day in your current job? Is it all becoming too much to bear? You could be suffering from workplace anxiety. If this persists for weeks, months, or even years, it could be a sign of something deeper. So watch this video to find out if you could be working in a toxic work environment. Working in a toxic environment can set you back years in your career and take a significant toll on your mental, emotional, and physical health. No job is worth this, so you need to know the signs. Watch this video to the end, and that way you'll not only be able to identify these signs, but also know what to do if you find yourself in a toxic workplace, as well as know how you can identify what the company culture is like before you even take the job. 10 signs of a toxic workplace culture. Number 1, excessive micromanagement. Imagine this, you're given a project and before you can even make a start, someone's breathing down your neck, looking over your shoulder and wanting to know exactly what you're doing throughout the working day. This type of controlling behaviour can be overbearing, and the constant criticism can make you start to doubt yourself. Micromanagement stifles your creativity and trust and creates a high-stress working environment that feels more like a pressure cooker than a workplace. Managers, if you're hiring someone to do a job, trust them just to do it. Number 2, poor communication. Have you got a major project on the way, but you and the team are struggling due to unclear communication? If you're rarely provided with detailed instructions, this can lead to confusion among you and your team members about your roles and responsibility. This lack of clarity not only jeopardizes the project's success, but it also fosters an environment of frustration and uncertainty. Number 3, lack of recognition. Recognition is like fuel for motivation. If your hard work goes unnoticed, it can leave you feeling undervalued and demotivated. Maybe your boss is always moving the goalposts so you can barely meet them, even when you're working harder and harder and making sacrifices. And then once you do accomplish the goal, it's on to the next task. Or maybe you've noticed even when your boss does give recognition, it's to the same individuals all of the time. This is the reason I'm helping one of my clients find a new opportunity, as she has become fed up with the lack of recognition she receives for all her hard work. Number 4, lack of work-life balance. Now, this is one I see all of the time, and I've had clients come to me at breaking point as they've been working 70-hour working weeks, missing out on family milestones and events, and literally no job is worth this sacrifice. Now, this is an extreme example, but if your boss is expecting you to come in early, stay late, or respond to emails after hours or on weekends, and you find you have less and less time for yourself, this is a sign of an unhealthy work-life balance. Another sign is if you're made to feel guilty about being sick. Maybe your boss's main concern is when you're returning to work or question the need for sick days. You find yourself feeling guilty for taking time off and find yourself over-explaining and apologising for such requests. 5, resistance to change. Change is inevitable, and a workplace that resists positive changes can become stagnant and demoralising. Are you fearful to raise concerns, ask questions and make suggestions because you're worried you may face rejection or victimisation? When passionate employees become quiet, it's a sign that the work environment has become toxic. Number 6, no growth opportunities. One of my clients recently went for an internal promotion, was told by senior management that she should get it, but then it never came to fruition. She later found out it was because her boss refused to recommend her for the position. A complete lack of career support. She felt every move she made to go forward got suppressed. Without room for professional growth, employees feel stagnant and unfulfilled, and it's a sure sign of a toxic work environment. Number 7, constant fear of job insecurity. You can pretty much tell the culture of an organisation by how well they treat their leaving employees. If there's secrecy when someone leaves, or once you hand in your resignation letter, you're treated like a traitor or an outcast. You're not included in meetings anymore and you feel ignored. Your colleagues should be paying attention to this, as this is a sign of a toxic work environment. Recently, we've seen a series of layoffs which have in turn created an atmosphere of perpetual fear. Employees live in constant worry about losing their jobs, leading to heightened stress and anxiety. Now, the fear of job insecurity impacts morale, teamwork, and overall job satisfaction. And this brings me to my next sign. 8, high turnover rates. If you notice a revolving door of colleagues, it could be a red flag. High turnover rates can indicate deeper issues within the workplace that need addressing. And if you keep seeing a company repeatedly reposting the same job postings, this can also indicate something is not quite right. Number 9, bullying or harassment. No one should ever feel threatened or harassed at work. It's not just detrimental to the individual, but also to the overall health of the workplace. I recently had a client who left her previous company as she faced persistent belittlement from a senior colleague. She started to experience panic attacks if she made a mistake. The hostile and threatening environment not only damaged Sarah's self-esteem, but it also created tension within the team, which impacted the overall productivity and morale. 10, unrealistic expectations. Imagine having the most unrealistic expectations without the necessary resources. It's a recipe for burnout and frustration. If you feel pressured to deliver complex projects within unrealistic timeframes, the unrelenting demands lead to stress, burnout, and diminishing sense of accomplishment. If you find yourself struggling or you reach such a low state that even your friends and family are noticing changes in your behaviour, it's time to address the situation. No amount of money can compensate for a toxic workplace culture. Seek support. Talk to trusted colleagues, friends, or family members about your experiences and seek professional support if needed. Make sure you document any instances of toxicity for future references. But what questions can you ask to avoid taking a job in companies with a toxic culture? In your next interview, ask what challenges the company experiences. What's the reason for this open position? Ask, can you explain your management style? How does the company support professional development? What is your process for giving feedback? How do you acknowledge employee success? To conclude, one of the biggest challenges we face in our professional and personal lives is to be brave enough to walk away when we are in a situation that is unhealthy or toxic. My advice is, if you find yourself in this situation, plan your exit strategy carefully, especially if you have bills or commitments. Change can be scary, but know your worth. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more valuable insights.